In the late 13th century, Anatolia was a land of chaos and uncertainty, its future hanging in the balance. The once mighty empires that had ruled these lands were now shadows of their former selves, and the people who called Anatolia home faced a world transformed by war and upheaval. The Seljuk Sultanate of Rum, which had dominated the region for generations, had collapsed under the relentless pressure of Mongol invasions. In its wake, Anatolia splintered into a patchwork of rival beyliks, small principalities, each ruled by ambitious warlords vying for power and survival. Among these beyliks, the Kayu tribe found their place near the town of Soğut, led first by the wise and respected Ertuğrul, and then, after his passing, by his determined and visionary son Osman. The Kayu were just one of many groups struggling to carve out a future in a fractured land. Osman's beginnings were humble. His lands were modest, his resources few, and his people constantly threatened by both rival Turks and the fading Byzantine Empire. Yet, what Osman lacked in wealth, he made up for in ambition and a sense of destiny. The year was 1299, a quiet, almost unremarkable start for what would one day become the mighty Ottoman Empire. Few could have imagined that from these humble origins, a force would emerge to shape the course of world history. Osman's state was just one of many, perched precariously on the volatile frontier between the crumbling Byzantine Empire to the west and other ambitious Turkish rivals to the east. The borders were always shifting, and alliances could change overnight. This was a crucible of conflict and opportunity, forging a society of warriors, farmers, and nomads. United by hardship, they were bound together by the constant threat of battle and the hope of a better future. Life here demanded resilience, unity, and an unbreakable spirit. Every day was a struggle for survival, and every victory, no matter how small, was hard-won. The people of Anatolia learned to rely on each other, forging bonds that would become the foundation of a new state. From this harsh and unforgiving ground, the Ottoman state would slowly grow. It was shaped by the need for strength, for unity, and for expansion, qualities that would define the empire for centuries to come. The challenges and enemies at the gates would embed a spirit of relentless ambition and adaptability into the very DNA of the empire. Every threat was met with determination, every setback with renewed resolve. The Ottomans were born of the frontier, their character forged in adversity, and their destiny shaped by the land itself. They became a people defined by their ability to endure, to adapt, and to dream beyond their borders. This was the soil from which a global powerhouse would rise, a land where hope and hardship walked hand in hand, and where the seeds of empire were sown in the most unlikely of places. The story of Osman was just beginning, and with it, the dawn of a new era for Anatolia and the world. Legends surround Osman's rise, echoing through the centuries and shaping the very foundation of the Ottoman Empire. None is more famous, or more mysterious, than the story of his prophetic dream at the home of the revered Sheikh Edebali, a spiritual leader and mentor. In this dream, a radiant moon emerged from the Sheikh's chest and drifted toward Osman, merging with his own heart. From within him, a mighty tree sprang forth, its branches stretching wide, casting a protective shadow over mountains, rivers, and distant lands. Rivers flowed from the roots of this tree, bringing life and abundance to the earth, nourishing both the land and its people, promising prosperity and unity. Sheikh Edebali interpreted this vision as a divine sign. Osman would marry his daughter, and from their union, a dynasty would arise. His descendants, he foretold, would rule a vast empire, guided by justice and faith. The dream became a cornerstone of Ottoman identity, a sacred mandate for conquest, justice, and the spread of Islam. It was more than a story, it was a guiding light. It gave Osman and his followers a profound sense of destiny, framing their every struggle and triumph as the fulfillment of a holy mission ordained by the heavens. This vision bound ruler and people together, forging a powerful unity that fueled their ambitions and gave them strength through hardship and uncertainty. Every victory on the battlefield, every city brought under Ottoman rule, was seen as a step toward realizing the prophecy, a sign that the dream was coming true. The narrative of divine sanction attracted warriors, scholars, and mystics from across the Muslim world, all eager to be part of this unfolding destiny and to serve a cause greater than themselves. The dream was the spiritual seed of the Ottoman oak, a symbol of endurance, growth, and the promise of a lasting legacy. It transformed a small band of frontier warriors into agents of destiny, inspiring them to look beyond their humble beginnings toward a future of greatness. The legend of Osman's dream would echo through the ages, inspiring generations of Ottomans to pursue their destiny and shape the course of history. The early Ottoman state was a fragile outpost, hemmed in by powerful neighbors. Osman's territory was little more than Soyut and its villages, pressed against the Byzantine frontier. The Byzantines, though weakened, remained a formidable foe. To the east, rival Turkish Beylik eyed Osman's lands with suspicion. Alliances shifted constantly, betrayal was common. Osman's strategy was cautious opportunism, raiding Byzantine lands while avoiding direct conflict with stronger Turkish rivals. This approach allowed the Ottomans to expand without provoking overwhelming enemies. The constant threat forged a militarized, pragmatic society. Every man was a potential soldier. The spoils of war fueled the economy. This underdog mentality bred resilience and toughness. The Ottomans never forgot the lessons of the frontier. The engine of early Ottoman expansion was the Ghazi, warriors of the faith. Motivated by religious zeal and the promise of plunder, these men saw themselves as champions of Islam against the Christian Byzantines. They were volunteers, Turkoman tribesmen, dervishes, adventurers, united by the Ghazi ethos. Masters of hit-and-run tactics, they harried the Byzantine frontier relentlessly. The Ghazi spirit was a way of life, emphasizing courage, loyalty, and faith. Leaders like Osman and Orhan fought alongside their men, earning fierce loyalty. Each victory brought wealth and new recruits, fueling a cycle of growth. The Ghazi movement transformed raids into sacred duty. It was this fury that first broke Byzantine defenses. The Ottomans' rise was powered by faith and the sword. Amid Anatolia's chaos, the Ottomans' greatest strength was unity. The ruling family maintained stable succession, avoiding the civil wars that plagued other dynasties. This stability allowed a consistent focus on expansion. The Ottomans fostered an inclusive identity, incorporating conquered Christians and Jews as protected peoples. Tolerance and pragmatic governance prevented rebellion and harnessed the skills of diverse subjects. Ambitious individuals from all backgrounds could rise through loyalty and ability. This meritocratic approach broadened Ottoman power. The state became a multi-ethnic, multi-religious project bound by loyalty to the dynasty. Unity and inclusivity transformed a Turkish tribe into an imperial force. The Ottomans thrived where others fractured. If Osman was the founder, his son Orhan was the architect. Orhan transformed the Ottomans from a band of warriors into an organized state. His capture of Bursa in 1326 marked a turning point. Bursa became the new capital, symbolizing the shift to urban power. Orhan introduced silver coins, appointed viziers, and established a standing army. The paid infantry and cavalry provided discipline and loyalty to the Sultan. Orhan sponsored mosques, schools, and public works, integrating Bursa into the Islamic world. These institutions attracted scholars, merchants, and artisans. Orhan's reforms laid the administrative and military foundations for future expansion. He built the skeleton of the empire his father dreamed of. The Ottomans now had the structure to grow. Orhan's legacy was a stable, enduring state. In the mid-14th century, the world watched as the Ottomans turned their gaze westward, setting their ambitions on the lands of Europe. This marked the beginning of a new era, one that would forever alter the course of history on the continent. The Byzantine Empire, once a mighty force, was now weakened by years of internal strife and civil war. Desperate for allies, the Byzantines hired Ottoman mercenaries to bolster their defenses, an act that would have unintended and far-reaching consequences. The Ottomans saw this as an opportunity not just to assist, but to expand their own influence. In 1354, fate intervened when a powerful earthquake toppled the walls of Gallipoli. Seizing the moment, Ottoman forces swiftly occupied the city, establishing their first stronghold on European soil. This was not just a military maneuver, but a turning point in the region's history. This foothold on the European side of the Dardanelles was a strategic masterstroke. Ibn Masker Spedinak Arbi Pinkpros, Gage Carnival, giving the Ottomans a gateway into the heart of Europe and control over a vital crossing point between continents. From Gallipoli, the Ottomans could now launch campaigns deep into the Balkans at will, sending their armies across rivers and plains that had never before seen their banners. The Byzantines, who had once invited the Ottomans in as allies, now found themselves powerless to remove them. Their former guests had become their greatest threat. The Balkans, fractured by rivalries and unprepared for the scale of the Ottoman advance, fell quickly. Castles and villages alike were swept up in the tide of conquest. The capture of Gallipoli was more than a victory. It was the opening of a new frontier, a signal that the balance of power in Europe was shifting. With their banners now planted firmly on European soil, the Ottomans had become a true European power, ready to challenge old empires and forge a new destiny. Their relentless advance would soon reshape the continent, redrawing borders and rewriting the stories of nations for centuries to come. The road to imperial greatness now lay open before them, stretching into the unknown, filled with both promise and peril. Europe would never be the same again, as the echoes of these first steps into Europe would resonate through history. The Ottomans' first century was forged in constant warfare. This struggle created a culture that was militaristic, pragmatic, and driven by destiny. The Ghazi spirit remained central, giving conquests a moral and religious purpose. The Sultan was both king and chief Ghazi, legitimizing rule and mobilizing armies. Even as the state grew complex, it never lost its frontier identity. Pragmatism and adaptability became hallmarks. Ottomans absorbed useful ideas from all sides. Tolerance toward Christians and Jews was both moral and practical, enabling effective rule. This dual identity, holy warrior and pragmatic administrator, defined the Ottoman character. They saw themselves as heirs to multiple traditions, destined for greatness. The Ottomans were a world power in the making. By the late 14th century, the Ottomans had become a formidable power straddling Asia and Europe. The foundations laid by Osman, Orhan and their successors would support an empire for centuries. Centralized leadership, a disciplined military, and pragmatic administration were all in place. The Ottomans were driven by a sense of divine destiny and unity. The conquest of the Balkans shifted the balance of power. Their new capital, Edirne, symbolized their European ambitions. Victories like Kosovo cemented their dominance. The path to Constantinople was clear. The rise of the Ottomans was no accident. It was the result of vision, resilience, and faith. From humble beginnings, they built one of history's greatest empires. Imagine a time before our modern world, when empires and kings ruled the land. On one side stood the Byzantine Empire, the last remnant of ancient Rome, once mighty, now a shadow of its former self. By 1453, its lands had shrunk, its armies were small, and its great capital, Constantinople, was vulnerable. The city, once bustling, now had more empty fields than homes within its massive walls. On the other side, a new power was rising, the Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans, energetic and ambitious, had already surrounded Constantinople. The city was the final jewel they needed to complete their empire. The world watched as these two forces prepared for a decisive clash. The Byzantines looked to Christian Europe for help, but aid was scarce and slow. Isolated and outnumbered, the Byzantines hoped for a miracle that never came. The stage was set, old versus new, a fading past against an ambitious future. The fate of Constantinople would decide which force would shape the region. This was more than a battle for a city, it was a battle for the future. The Byzantine Empire represented 1,000 years of history. The Ottomans, a new order, were ready to reshape the world. Constantinople's fall would mark the end of one era and the beginning of another. The city's fate would echo for centuries. The world held its breath as the two empires faced off. The outcome would change history forever. The old world was about to meet the new. The battle for Constantinople was about to begin. Constantinople was more than a city. It was a legend. For over 1,000 years, it was Europe's richest and largest city, a bridge between Europe and Asia. Whoever controlled Constantinople controlled the vital trade routes between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean. Its wealth came from this unique position, making it a prize for any ruler. The city was also a fortress, protected by water on 3 sides and the mighty Theodosian walls on the 4th. These walls had stopped countless invaders and made the city seem unconquerable. Beyond its defenses, Constantinople was a center of culture, religion, and learning. It was the heart of the Eastern Orthodox Church and home to the Hagia Sophia. Its libraries preserved ancient knowledge lost elsewhere in Europe. Capturing Constantinople meant controlling immense riches and trade. For the Ottoman Sultan, it was the key to uniting his empire and claiming the legacy of Rome. Taking the city was not just a military goal, it was a dream that would make him a legend. Whoever held Constantinople held the gateway between worlds. Its fate would shape the destiny of empires. The man destined to conquer Constantinople was Sultan Mehmed II. At just 21, many underestimated him, but Mehmed was brilliant, multilingual, and obsessed with history's great conquerors. From the moment he became sultan, he focused on one goal: capturing Constantinople. He made peace with his rivals to avoid distractions and isolated the city diplomatically. Mehmed's greatest weapon was innovation. He recruited Orban, a master cannon maker, to build the largest cannons the world had ever seen. The most famous, the basilic, could fire massive stone balls capable of shattering ancient walls. These cannons were so huge they needed hundreds of men and oxen to move. Mehmed believed technology would break the city's legendary defenses. He was determined to bring the future to the gates of the past. Every move was calculated, every resource focused on this single objective. Mehmed's preparations were meticulous and relentless. He was ready to make history. The ancient city would soon face a new kind of siege. The world watched as Mehmed prepared to change history. In spring 1453, Mehmed arrived before Constantinople with a massive army, some say over 80,000 strong. The city's defenders numbered only about 7,000, stretched thin along the walls. The siege began with thunderous cannon fire. The ground shook as the basilic pounded the Theodosian walls. Each day, the cannons blasted breaches. Each night, defenders raced to repair them. The defenders, led by Giovanni Giustiniani, fought bravely, repelling wave after wave of attackers. Outnumbered and exhausted, they clung to hope and the strength of their walls, but the relentless bombardment wore them down. Supplies dwindled, and the city's spirit began to crack. Mehmed kept up the pressure, knowing time was on his side. The ancient walls, once thought unbreakable, were crumbling. The defenders' courage was remarkable, but the odds were overwhelming. The city was running out of time and options. The siege became a test of endurance, stone against iron, will against fate. Every day the city's defenses weakened. The final breach was only a matter of time. The fate of Constantinople hung by a thread. Constantinople's secret weapon was a giant chain blocking the Golden Horn, keeping the Ottoman navy at bay. Mehmed saw this obstacle as a challenge, not a barrier. He devised a bold plan: move his ships over land. His men built a greased wooden road over the hills beside the harbor. One night, under cover of darkness, the Ottomans hauled dozens of ships overland and into the Golden Horn. At dawn, the defenders were stunned. The Ottoman fleet was inside their harbor. The chain was useless. The city was now surrounded on all sides. This daring move shattered the defenders' morale. Mehmed could now attack the weaker sea walls with his cannons. The city's last hope was gone. The siege tightened, and escape became impossible. The defenders realized they faced not just a powerful enemy, but a genius strategist. The final act of the siege had begun. Constantinople was completely encircled. Its fate was sealed. The final assault came on May 29th. The night before, the city was filled with dread. People gathered in Hagia Sophia to pray together, Orthodox and Catholic alike. Emperor Constantine V gave a final speech, vowing to fight to the end. At dawn, the Ottomans unleashed a storm of noise and violence. Waves of soldiers attacked the shattered walls. The defenders fought desperately. For hours, the outcome hung in the balance. Then disaster struck. Giustiniani, the defenders' leader, was wounded, causing panic. At the same time, Ottomans found an unlocked gate and raised their flag inside the city. The defenders' spirit broke. The Janissaries surged through the main breach. Emperor Constantine threw off his royal robes and died fighting. With his death, the last Roman emperor was gone. Ottoman soldiers poured into the city. After a 53-day siege, Constantinople had fallen. The 1,000-year-old Byzantine Empire was no more. A new era had begun. The world would never be the same. The city's fall echoed across continents. After the conquest, Mehmed II found a damaged, empty city, but he saw opportunity, not ruin. He launched a massive rebuilding and repopulation effort, inviting people of all backgrounds, Turks, Greeks, Armenians, Jews, to settle in Istanbul. He promised religious freedom, turning the city into a multicultural metropolis. Mosques, churches, and synagogues stood side by side. Mehmed converted the Hagia Sophia into a mosque, but preserved its Christian art beneath plaster. He added minarets, giving the building its iconic silhouette. New projects transformed the city: the Grand Bazaar, Topkapi Palace, new mosques, schools, and baths. Istanbul became a vibrant, bustling capital. Mehmed saw himself as a founder, not a destroyer. The city was reborn as the heart of the Ottoman Empire. Tolerance and diversity fueled its rapid growth. Istanbul became a symbol of a new era. The old Constantinople was gone. Long live Istanbul, the glorious center of a new empire. The city's transformation was just beginning. The capture of Constantinople transformed the Ottomans into a global power. Mehmed II became Mehmed the Conqueror, claiming the legacy of the Roman emperors. Istanbul became the perfect center for his vast empire, uniting lands in Europe and Asia. The conquest sent shockwaves through Europe. Christian kingdoms were horrified. The Ottomans now had a base for further expansion into Europe. For centuries, they would be a major threat to Christian powers, pushing into the Balkans and even besieging Vienna. The fall of Constantinople marked the start of a long rivalry between East and West. It also forced Europeans to seek new trade routes to Asia, making old land routes expensive and dangerous. This need for new routes inspired explorers like Columbus and Vasco da Gama. The fall of the city helped launch the Age of Discovery. The world map was about to change forever. The Ottomans had become a force no one could ignore. The conquest reshaped global history. Under Ottoman rule, Istanbul became a thriving center of trade and culture. The Grand Bazaar grew into a vast marketplace, attracting merchants from across the world. The city became a melting pot of goods, ideas, and people. Ottoman wealth funded a golden age of art and architecture, blending Byzantine, Persian, and Islamic styles. Istanbul's skyline, with its domes and minarets, became iconic. The conquest also sent Greek scholars fleeing to Europe, carrying ancient manuscripts and knowledge. Their arrival helped spark the Renaissance, fueling a rebirth of learning and art in the West. The fall of Constantinople ended a 1,000-year empire and gave rise to a new one. It shifted the balance of power, trade, and culture between East and West. The city's transformation echoed across continents and centuries. Istanbul became a symbol of change and renewal. The world was forever altered by the events of 1453. The end of one story became the explosive beginning of many others. Suleiman the Magnificent stands as one of history's most influential rulers, ascending the Ottoman throne in 1520 and ushering in its golden age. He was not just a conqueror, but a poet, statesman, and patron of the arts, determined to build an empire known for justice as much as power. The Ottoman Empire, already formidable, became the world's superpower under his command, stretching across Europe, Asia, and Africa. Europeans called him the Magnificent for his wealth and power, but within his realm, he was Kanuni, the lawgiver. Suleiman knew that force alone couldn't hold such a vast, diverse empire together. It needed just laws and wise governance. His reign saw the Ottoman flag fly over new lands, rivaling the Roman Empire at its height. The empire became a hub of trade, learning, and military might, unmatched by any European power. Grand mosques, flourishing arts, and a powerful navy defined this era of confidence and achievement. Suleiman's dual legacy, as a mighty warrior and a just ruler, explains the enduring success of his reign. This was the Ottoman Empire at its peak, orchestrated by one extraordinary man. Suleiman's ambition was limitless, and he quickly set out to expand his empire's reach. His early victories, like the capture of Belgrade and Rhodes, opened the way into Central Europe and secured the Eastern Mediterranean. He pushed deep into Asia and Africa, conquering Baghdad and much of Iraq, and extending Ottoman influence along the North African coast. The legendary Admiral Barbarossa brought powerful fleets under Suleiman's command, turning the Mediterranean into an Ottoman lake. The empire's reach stretched from Hungary to Yemen, Algeria to the Red Sea, controlling vital trade routes and challenging European rivals. By the end of his reign, Suleiman ruled over 25 million people across 3 continents, uniting dozens of cultures and religions. Managing such diversity required more than military might. It demanded sophisticated governance and legal systems. The empire's expansion laid the foundation for its golden age, making it the central power of the 16th century. Suleiman's vision was not just territorial, but about building a lasting, unified state. His conquests brought prestige, wealth, and stability to the empire. The Ottoman world became a crossroads of civilization, commerce, and culture. This vast, diverse domain was the stage for Suleiman's greatest achievements. Suleiman's most enduring legacy was his transformation of the Ottoman legal system. Known as Kanuni, he unified a patchwork of laws into a single clear code, the Kanun name. This code complemented Sharia law, covering criminal justice, taxation, land, and markets, creating order across the empire. Suleiman's reforms made the tax system fairer and reduced corruption, improving life for ordinary people. Non-Muslim subjects, or dhimmi, were guaranteed rights to property and religious practice, as long as they paid a special tax and remained loyal. The new legal code brought stability and predictability, strengthening the loyalty of the empire's diverse populations. Suleiman's justice became legendary, making him not just a conqueror, but a guarantor of fairness. The Kanun name shaped Ottoman administration for centuries, long after its military power waned. His legal reforms created a more efficient, just society, uniting people under a common system. Suleiman's reputation as the lawgiver was as significant as any battlefield victory. Justice, above all, was the foundation of his empire's strength. The Ottoman Empire's expansion was powered by its unmatched military, led by the elite janissaries. Recruited through the Devshirme system, these professional soldiers were fiercely loyal to the Sultan and masters of gunpowder warfare. The janissaries' discipline and firepower, combined with a formidable artillery corps, made the Ottoman army the most advanced of its time. The navy, under Admiral Barbarossa, dominated the Mediterranean, enabling campaigns across continents. Suleiman himself was a brilliant commander, leading 13 major campaigns and inspiring his troops with his presence. Victories like Mohacs in 1526 showcased the terrifying efficiency of the Ottoman war machine. Military dominance secured the empire's borders, protected trade, and funded its cultural achievements. The strength of Suleiman's armies was the backbone of the Golden Age. Suleiman's era was a golden age of art and culture, driven by the Sultan's own passion for poetry and beauty. He wrote under the pen name Muhibbi, and his court became a magnet for artists, poets, and craftsmen from across the empire. Calligraphy, miniature painting, and the decorative arts flourished with masterpieces created in Istanbul and beyond. Iznik ceramics, with their vibrant colors and intricate designs, adorned mosques and palaces. Luxurious textiles and carpets from imperial workshops were prized across Europe and Asia. The empire's wealth and diversity fueled this cultural blossoming, blending influences from Persian, Arab, Byzantine, and European traditions. Ottoman art became a unique, sophisticated style that endures to this day. Suleiman's patronage left a legacy of beauty and creativity. The arts were as central to his reign as conquest and law. The architectural genius of Suleiman's age was embodied by Mimar Sinan, the empire's master builder. Sinan, a former janissary, designed over 300 structures, perfecting the domed mosque and transforming Istanbul's skyline. His masterpieces, the Süleymaniye Mosque and the Selimiye Mosque, set new standards for beauty and engineering. These mosques, with their soaring domes and luminous interiors, became symbols of Ottoman confidence and faith. Sinan's complexes, or kulliyes, included schools, hospitals and kitchens, serving both spiritual and social needs. His bridges and aqueducts improved infrastructure and connected the empire. Sinan's work was the most visible legacy of the Golden Age, a testament in stone to Suleiman's vision. Ottoman architecture reached its zenith, rivaling the wonders of the Renaissance. The empire's power was etched into the very fabric of its cities. The Ottoman Empire's policy of religious tolerance set it apart from war-torn Europe. Through the millet system, non-Muslim communities governed their own affairs, maintaining schools, laws, and traditions. In return for loyalty and a special tax, Christians and Jews found security and autonomy under Ottoman rule. The empire became a haven for refugees, including Jews expelled from Spain, who enriched its cities with new skills and ideas. This pragmatic approach to diversity fostered stability and prosperity. By allowing communities to coexist, the Ottomans reduced internal conflict and rebellion. While not equal in law, non-Muslims had a secure place in society. Religious tolerance was a key to the empire's longevity and strength. Even at its height, the Ottoman Empire faced growing challenges. Constant warfare strained the treasury, and as conquests slowed, new wealth dwindled. Succession crises led to deadly rivalries, weakening leadership after Sulayman's death. European powers modernized, shifting trade routes and military tactics to challenge Ottoman dominance. The Janissaries, once loyal, became a political force, demanding privileges and undermining stability. Corruption spread among distant officials, eroding central control. These pressures, economic and political, set the stage for the empire's gradual decline. When Sulayman died in 1566, the seeds of future troubles were already sown. The Golden Age would be followed by centuries of slow decay. Sulayman the Magnificent's reign marked the zenith of Ottoman power, a global superpower unmatched in its era. His armies, navies, and laws shaped a vibrant, diverse society that bridged East and West. To the West he was the Magnificent, symbolizing wealth, art, and military might. To his people, the lawgiver, the architect of justice and stability. The Kanun name, the mosques of Sinan, and the flourishing arts remain as testaments to his vision. The millet system's model of governance, and the empire's cultural achievements influenced the world for centuries. Sulayman's legacy is a story of what's possible when power, justice, and creativity unite. Though the empire declined, his achievements left an indelible mark on history. The Golden Age he created continues to inspire and fascinate. Sulayman truly earned his title, presiding over one of history's most brilliant empires. For more than 6 centuries, the Ottoman Empire stood as a formidable force at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and Africa. Its influence stretched across 3 continents, shaping the destinies of countless peoples and cultures. The empire's strategic position allowed it to control vital trade routes, connecting East and West, and making it a center of commerce, diplomacy, and power. From its humble beginnings under Osman I in the rugged lands of Anatolia, the Ottomans expanded steadily, forging a vast and diverse state. At its height, the empire ruled over lands stretching from the gates of Vienna in the west to the deserts of Yemen in the south, and from the shores of Algeria in the west to the mountains of Persia in the east. This immense territory brought together a mosaic of languages, religions, and traditions under a single imperial banner. Istanbul, once the legendary city of Constantinople, became the empire's glittering capital, a vibrant center of culture, learning, and commerce. Its skyline, crowned by the majestic domes of the Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque, reflected the empire's grandeur and ambition. The city's bustling bazaars and grand palaces attracted merchants, scholars, and travelers from across the world. The Sultans, ruling from their opulent palaces, built a formidable military and a complex multi-ethnic society. They united Turks, Arabs, Greeks, Armenians, Jews, and many others under their rule, fostering a unique blend of cultures and traditions that defined the Ottoman world. At the heart of their military power stood the Janissaries, elite infantry who became a symbol of Ottoman strength and discipline. These soldiers, once recruited as boys from across the empire, were trained to serve the Sultan with unwavering loyalty, and their presence struck fear into the empire's enemies. Yet, beneath the surface of this mighty empire, the seeds of decline were quietly taking root. Corruption, internal strife, and the challenges of governing such a vast realm began to erode the foundations of Ottoman power. The world outside was changing rapidly. New ideas, revolutionary technologies, and powerful European states emerged during the Industrial Revolution, challenging the old order and threatening the empire's dominance. The Ottomans struggled to adapt to these sweeping changes. Their armies, once feared, began to falter, and their once mighty fortresses fell into disrepair. The empire's strength, once unshakable, began to wane. Internal decay, a series of military defeats, and the rise of nationalist movements among the empire's many peoples all played their part in weakening Ottoman authority. The unity that had held the empire together for centuries began to unravel. The story of the Ottoman Empire is not just one of conquest and glory, but also of transformation, resilience, and eventual collapse. Its legacy would echo through the ages, shaping the modern world in profound ways. The fall of the Ottoman Empire would redraw borders, ignite new conflicts, and reshape the destinies of nations, a legacy that still resonates today. The Ottoman decline was gradual, rooted in its own structure. Sultans became isolated, unprepared for leadership after years in confinement. Power shifted to palace figures, mothers, viziers, and eunuchs, fueling corruption and intrigue. The central government grew paralyzed, reforms stalled, and decisions served palace factions, not the state. Economic troubles mounted as European trade routes bypassed Ottoman lands, revenues fell, while military and bureaucratic costs soared. Inflation, debt, and a shrinking treasury weakened the empire further. The once mighty state became a fragile giant, vulnerable to both internal and external threats. The empire's formidable appearance masked a growing fragility. The roots of decay ran deep, setting the stage for further decline. The Ottoman Empire was no longer the unstoppable force it once was. By the 19th century, the Ottomans were known as the sick man of Europe. Corruption and inefficiency plagued the administration. Tax farming exploited the people and fueled unrest. The Industrial Revolution left the empire economically dependent on Europe. Cheap European goods flooded markets, bankrupting local artisans. Massive loans from European banks led to bankruptcy and foreign control of Ottoman finances. Capitulations gave Europeans special privileges, undermining Ottoman sovereignty. Reformers launched the Tanzimat, aiming to modernize laws, the army, and education. Resistance from conservative elites blunted these efforts. The reforms came too late to reverse centuries of decline. The empire's independence and authority slipped away. The stage was set for further disintegration. The Ottoman army, once a symbol of power and innovation, was feared across continents for centuries. But as the 18th and 19th centuries unfolded, Europe surged ahead, embracing new technologies and military strategies. The Ottomans, however, struggled to adapt, and their army began to lag behind. The Janissaries, once the empire's elite fighting force, had become a powerful political group. Over time, they grew corrupt, clinging to their privileges and fiercely resisting any attempts at modernization or reform. Their opposition to change was so intense that they blocked crucial reforms, staged violent revolts, and even posed a direct threat to the authority of the Sultan himself. In 1826, Sultan Mahmud II took a dramatic step. He crushed the Janissaries in a bloody confrontation known as the Auspicious Incident, abolishing the corps to make way for a modern army. Meanwhile, European armies were transforming. They adopted advanced weapons, developed new tactics, and trained their soldiers with discipline and precision, setting new standards for military excellence. The Ottomans, by contrast, remained stuck with outdated equipment and a system plagued by favoritism and inefficiency. Their attempts at reform were often too little, too late, and defeat followed defeat on the battlefield. As a result, the empire lost vast territories. Humiliating treaties were signed, and the myth of Ottoman invincibility was shattered for all to see. The growing military gap exposed the empire's deep vulnerability. Once formidable fortresses now stood crumbling, and border defenses were stretched thin. The Ottoman army, unable to keep up with its rivals, could no longer defend its vast borders from encroaching enemies. What was once a mighty force, respected and feared, had become a mere shadow of its former self, struggling to maintain order and relevance. This accelerating military decline played a central role in the empire's slow collapse, undermining its power and prestige on the world stage. As the world raced forward into a new era of industry and innovation, the Ottomans struggled desperately to keep pace, their army a stark reminder of an empire out of time. Military defeats forced the Ottomans to modernize. Sultan Selim III's New Order army faced fierce resistance from the Janissaries and conservatives. His reforms failed, and he was overthrown. Only after the Janissaries' destruction could real change begin. Sultan Mahmud Sulkerdin built a new, European-style army, introduced conscription, and established military schools. The empire invested in modern weapons and a navy, but lacked the industry to sustain them. Reliance on foreign imports deepened financial woes. Cultural resistance and logistical challenges persisted. The new army was better, but still lagged behind Europe. Modernization efforts were too slow to save the empire. The Ottomans could not close the gap. The Ottoman Empire's diversity became a weakness as nationalism swept Europe. Christian peoples in the Balkans began to see themselves as distinct nations, not Ottoman subjects. Serbia and Greece led the way, winning autonomy and independence with European support. Their success inspired others, Bulgarians, Romanians, and more, to rise up. Russia encouraged these movements to weaken the Ottomans. The Balkan Wars of 1912–13 drove the Ottomans out of nearly all European territories. The empire's multi-ethnic tapestry unraveled. Nationalism tore at the empire's foundations. The Ottomans lost their European heartland. The age of empires was giving way to the age of nations. By the early 1900s, the Ottoman Empire was weak and unstable. The Young Turks seized power, pushing for modernization but alienating minorities. In 1914, the Ottomans joined World War I on the side of Germany and Austria-Hungary. They hoped victory would restore lost lands and independence. The empire fought on many fronts: Gallipoli, the Caucasus, Mesopotamia, and Palestine. Gallipoli was a rare victory, producing the hero Mustafa Kemal. Elsewhere, the Ottomans suffered heavy losses and economic collapse. The Armenian population faced brutal persecution. The British-backed Arab Revolt further weakened Ottoman control. The war drained the empire's last resources. By 1918, the Ottomans were on the brink of collapse. The end was near. In 1918, after years of devastating conflict, the once mighty Ottoman Empire was finally defeated, and its capital, Istanbul, was occupied by Allied forces. The empire, which had ruled vast territories across 3 continents for centuries, now found itself at the mercy of foreign powers. The victorious Allies gathered to decide the fate of Ottoman lands. Their plan, formalized in the harsh Treaty of Sèvres in 1920, aimed to carve up the empire's territory, dividing it among themselves and their allies. The treaty stripped the Ottomans of most of their land, leaving only a small area for a Turkish state. In occupied Istanbul, the Ottoman Sultan remained as a figurehead, but he was powerless. The city, once the heart of a vast empire, was now under foreign control, and the Sultan's authority was reduced to little more than a symbol. But across Anatolia, a new spirit of resistance was rising. Turkish nationalists, led by the determined and charismatic Mustafa Kemal, refused to accept the humiliating terms of the treaty or the foreign occupation of their homeland. From Ankara, they organized and launched the Turkish War of Independence, rallying people from all walks of life to join their cause. Their goal was clear: to reclaim their sovereignty and build a new future for Turkey. Against overwhelming odds, the nationalist forces fought bravely. They defeated the invading Greek army and forced the Allied powers to reconsider their plans, proving that the Turkish people would not surrender their homeland without a fight. In 1923, the Treaty of Lausanne was signed, finally recognizing the sovereignty of a new, independent Turkish state. This marked a turning point, as the world acknowledged the end of Ottoman rule and the birth of modern Turkey. Soon after, the Ottoman Sultanate was officially abolished. The centuries-old institution that had once dominated the region was dissolved by the new Turkish parliament, signaling a dramatic break from the imperial past. The last sultan, Mehmed VI, was forced to leave Istanbul and go into exile, ending the long line of Ottoman rulers. He departed quietly, marking the end of an era. The once glorious palaces and throne rooms stood empty, their imperial symbols fading into memory. 6 centuries of Ottoman rule had come to a close, leaving behind a legacy that would shape the region for generations. The Ottoman Empire, which had been a dominant force in world history, now passed into the pages of history books. Its flags and crests became relics, and its grand architecture began to crumble. From the ashes of the old empire, a new Turkish republic was proclaimed in 1923. Led by Ataturk, the nation embraced a new identity, determined to build a modern, secular and independent state. The fall of the Ottoman Empire not only transformed Turkey, but also redrew the borders of the Middle East and changed the world map forever. The Ottoman Empire's legacy shapes the modern Middle East, Balkans, and North Africa. Borders drawn by European powers after its fall created new states and lasting conflicts. The empire's cultural blend lives on in architecture, cuisine, and language. As the last caliphate, its end left a leadership vacuum in the Muslim world. The abolition of the caliphate in 1924 still echoes today. The Ottoman experience with diversity offers lessons for modern states. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk's secular, westernizing reforms defined modern Turkey. The tension between secularism and Islamic heritage remains central in Turkish society. The Ottoman story is one of rise, fall, and enduring influence. Its shadow lingers in the world we know today.